Hi everyone, it's Marisa from bumblebeeapothecary.com, and today I'd like to talk about how I meal plan. So this is a requested video. I always love getting video requests from you guys, so anytime that you have ideas for videos that you'd like me to do, be sure and leave me a comment and let me know what they are. This I thought was a great topic to talk about. So I have done meal planning a couple different ways in the past, and I've settled upon one that I really like. So years past, I used to do a template sort of a format where I would have like a rotating every 2 week schedule where I'd have like American theme, Italian theme, Mexican theme, maybe like whole roast chicken every Sunday or something like that. And that works okay. It gives you a certain amount of flexibility so that you can kind of work with what you have. But I still find that it's pretty planny, like it's pretty detailed. And some people like that. Again, this is just kind of what I do. There's different people, different preferences, but this is just what I do. So with that more detailed outline, you know, you have to sit down, you have to think through those whole 2 weeks of what you're gonna have. But then once you do that, it's done and you really don't have to think too much about it anymore. So that's one way that I've done it. Lately, I have come to do a much looser meal planning. It's still like a template kind of a thing in my mind, but I find that it works so much better for using up all the different cuts of meat that you get when you buy whole or halves of animals, and for using what's in season or what I have on hand that I want to make sure I use up and not go to waste. It tends to be a bit more budget friendly too. So the way this method works is at the beginning of the week, like say Monday, I'll go and grab 5 to 6 days worth of meat out of the freezer. So we get whole or half of cows and pigs and things, and then we have our chickens that we raise in the freezer. So there's a bunch of different types of cuts of meat, and here's where this comes in really nicely for using those up, because if you're going from what kind of themed recipes do I want to make, it can be really hard to make sure you're using all those different cuts of meat in the freezer, whereas this way makes sure that you use all those cuts. So I go out there like on a Monday, I'll grab maybe 2 meals worth of ground beef because I have a lot of that to use up, and then I'll also get like a roast of some kind. I'll get maybe some chops for another day. I'll have a whole chicken, and then depending on how many days worth of meat I'm getting out, I might have a bigger thing, like a big thing of brisket or a ham or something that's going to take days to defrost in the refrigerator. So then that way I have all my chunks of meat taken out, already defrosting in the refrigerator for most of the week. And oftentimes it does well enough for the entire week because we'll end up with enough leftovers to where we can do like a leftover night or something like that. So once I have my refrigerator full of all the different cuts of meat, I will start from there. So the first day, the ground beef is gonna defrost quicker, so I'll probably do that first day. The next day, maybe one of the roasts will be ready to go. Maybe the third day after that, the next thing of ground beef is ready to use and it hasn't been in there too long, you know, still fits. And then as the week goes on, I'll get into those bigger cuts of meat that needed to sit a little bit longer. So then it's pretty easy. Each day, I just decide which cut of meat is ready to go. I look around to what vegetables I have to use up to go with it, and then I come up right there with what I'm gonna have for dinner. So I like it. It's looser, it's more relaxed, it takes advantage of what we have on hand to use up, and instead of me having to go out and buy extra stuff to make a certain recipe that I have in mind or whatever, and I really like it. So I am, I guess, more of a detailed planning type of person, so it kind of surprised me how well I like this method, since it does seem a little bit like shooting from the hip to some degree, but once you try it, it's really not. One thing that I really love that it solves is, you know how hard it can be sometimes to remember to take meat out of the freezer, especially when you have those bigger chunks of meat that take days to defrost and you're like, oh, I forgot to take it out. Like, it doesn't work to use it days from now. This solves that. So you have your refrigerator full of all this defrosting meat that's ready different days. It all gets used well, and you don't have to remember to take meat out to defrost every single day. So I really like that about it. And as far as having to kind of come up with a meal each day, it's really a lot easier than you would think. So we try to follow GAPS type guidelines for the most part. Even though we're not all strictly on GAPS, we still try to incorporate a lot of those really key foods that are the heart of GAPS, so the animal fats, the broth, the meat stock, those kind of dishes. So I've talked a little bit about that. If you're starting with your meat and then you're pairing vegetables with it, you can keep it really simple and have a lot of variety, and it's so easy. So that's what I tend to go to. And then I'll get creative with side dishes to change it up and make it interesting. And of course it always changes as seasons go on as well. So if you're looking for a new way to try meal planning, I really encourage you to give this a try. So to recap, how it works again is at the beginning of the week, or whatever day you choose, about once a week, you take a whole bunch of different cuts out of the freezer, and then each day you decide based on how defrosted they are, which cut to make that day for dinner, and then look around at what's in season, what's already available in your refrigerator or garden or pantry, and then you come up with what to have that day. And you kind of think about it in the back of your mind when you see what you have to use up different days, like, oh, I should probably use this later in the week, that kind of thing. It's really pretty easy. I really like it. I have a couple other resources too that can help people with meal planning, especially if they are wanting to get started with the GAPS diet. I have a complete program that guides people through the GAPS diet for 12 months or longer if you need longer time on it. It is my program where I do my coaching through. It's called Follow GAPS Academy, and in there I have meal planning templates that helps you get started with this type of thinking for meal planning, and you can fill in those to get you started, and then just kind of gets you into that routine of thinking about what you have, using up those good GAPS foods on a regular basis, and all that good stuff. I also have a 30-day meal plan for GAPS Intro. It's also adaptable for full GAPS if you need to do that instead. It's called GAPS to Go. There will be links to both of those, program and the meal plan, down in the description box in case you're interested in either of those. I hope that you found this interesting and hopefully helpful. I would love to know your thoughts. What do you currently do for meal planning? Leave me a comment and let me know. Be sure and check out that description box for links to my Follow GAPS Academy program and my 30-day GAPS meal plan, as well as free ebooks. I have free GAPS diet getting started guide and a free class that helps you get started with the GAPS diet with less confusion, more confidence. So check out that description box for all those free goodies as well. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with anybody else you think would find it helpful. And if you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I get out 2 new videos every week on nourishing recipes and natural living. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.